Prabhuji, can you please
Thank you, Mataji. Sorry, Nana, you said something?
can you please reshare the verse
Yes.
and
It's chapter 4, text 51, 51. Translation. So again, it's Adi Lila, chapter 4, text 51. Translation. Lord Chaitanya is the shelter of the demigods, the goal of the Upanishads, the be-all and end-all of all great sages, the beautiful shelter of his devotees, and the essence of the love of the lotus-eyed gopis. Will he again be the object of my vision? So this is a wonderful verse glorifying Lord Chaitanya. And he's basically saying the purpose of studying the Upanishads and the Vedas is to know him. All the great sages, all the austerities they're performing, simply to obtain the shelter of Lord Chaitanya. He is the shelter of the devotees. And he's the essence of the love of the gopis. And that's why actually he has appeared. So it's very interesting. He's the essence of the love, and he's also trying to experience that love. That's the dual role he has. And the devotee is saying, will he be again the object of my vision? Everyone must have heard the bhajan, Jagannath Swami Nayana Patagami, Nayana Patagami Bhavatume. Basically saying, when you will become, or please become the vision of my eyes. To Lord Jagannath. Same thing being said here. Please, when you will be the vision of my, will be object of my vision. He's basically asking that question. Okay. Text 52. Aparam kasyapi pranayi chanirvandasya kutiki rasastomam ritva madhuram upabhoktum kham apiyaha rucham swam avavre dyutim ihat tadiyam prakatayan sadevas chaitanya kritir atitaram nah kripayatu. Translation. Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Shri Radha. And so he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion with her effulgent yellow color. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. So once again, excuse me, Lord Krishna said, I don't know how Radharani feels when she tastes my sweetness. I don't know what taste she gets when she loves me. I want to taste all that. So that's why he came as Lord Chaitanya. And when he tasted that love, he actually hid his original color, which is dark complexion. So Lord Chaitanya, about Lord Chaitanya, he said, Antare Krishna Bahya Gaura. So inside is Krishna, but outside is Gaura, Lord Chaitanya, and also Gaura, the complexion of Radharani. So Radharani said, you have to take my complexion, otherwise you cannot bear the impact of loving me. When you feel that vipralamba bhav, the pain you will feel, you can't tolerate that unless you take my color, my protection. Similarly, you'll hit your head against the wall, you jump up and down, you fall down, you cannot take all that. So I'm going to give you my kavach. That is my complexion. So he took the color of Radharani. Okay? So it says 52 are Prarthana Shri Chaitanya Ashtak 2 and Dvitiya Shri Chaitanya Ashtak number 3 of the Stavmala of Srila Rupa Goswami. Okay. 53. Bhav Grahaner Hetu Kail Dharma Sthapana Tar Mukhya Hetu Kahi Shuno Sarvajan. To accept the ecstatic love is the main reason he appeared and reestablished the religion system for this age. I shall now explain that reason. Everyone, please listen. So once again, we discussed this just last week, that the real reason is that he wanted to taste the love that the Radharani was tasting. The second reason establishing a religious system for this age, which is the Yug Dharma, which is the Harinam Sankirtan. That's a secondary reason. That is not the real reason for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. The real reason is tasting. The three reasons, we'll talk about them later. But one of them mentioned here is testing the ecstatic love of Radharani. Okay. Text 54. मूल हेतु आगे श्लोकेर कैल आभास एवं कही सहित श्लोकेर अर्थ प्रकाश. Having first given hints about the verse describing the principal reason why the Lord appeared, now shall manifest its full meaning. So now Krishna's Kaviraj is going to explain what it really means. This is a very important verse, the next one coming up. Radha Krishna Pranay Vikritir Hladini Shaktir Asmad Ekatmanav Api Bhuvipura Deh Bhedam Gatau Tau Chaitanyakhyam Prakatam Adhuna Taddrayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhavaditi Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. Translation. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, they separated themselves eternally. Now these two transcendental identities have been again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with a sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. So let's discuss this particular verse because this is a very, very important verse. Many points are contained in this particular verse. And those points will be elaborated later on in this chapter. But let's do this here because then when we read it again, it will become more clear. Okay. So first thing is that Krishna has three potencies. What are the three potencies? Somebody tell me.
External potency, internal potency, and
Marginal.
Okay. So now we talk about internal potency. The internal potency also has three features. What are the three features of internal potency? Okay. Is Sandhini, is Samvit,
Hladini.
and Hladini. Very good. So Samvit, sorry, let's start with Sandhini first. Again, it will be explained later on. Sandhini is the potency because of which Krishna is able to exist eternally. So the essence of Sandhini Shakti is the eternity of Lord Krishna. Everybody clear on that? Okay. Next is Samvit, sometimes also known as Chit potency. So Samvit is knowledge. So Samvit potency is the potency by which Krishna knows everything. Vedaham samtitani vartamanani cha Arjuna. Bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu veda kashana. In chapter 7, text 26, Krishna says, I know the past, I know the present, I know the future, and I know everybody, all living entities. That is his Samvit potency. It's also that potency that allows us to know Krishna. So Samvit potency is the one that allows Krishna to know everything and everyone, and also the potency that allows us to know Krishna. So remember, without the help of internal potency, we cannot know Krishna. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita 18:55? Bhaktya mam avijanati. It is only by devotional service that you can know me. There's no mechanical process, no material process, no chemicals, no chemical reaction by which we can know Krishna. It's only by the eternal potency of Krishna, which is bhakti. So Samvit portion of the internal potency is the potency by which we know Krishna. And Krishna knows everything. Madhumata, you're looking confused.
No, it's okay.
You okay?
Little bit. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the third portion is, so we got Sandhini, we got Samvit. What's the third one? Hladini. Hladini. which translated means pleasure potency.
Pleasure.
So that's being mentioned here. The loving affairs of Shri Radha and Krishna, I'm reading the translation here. The loving affairs of Shri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. So it is that potency that allows Krishna to feel the pleasure of the love of Krishna, Radharani and the gopis. It is the pleasure-giving and pleasure-feeling potency of Krishna. It is that pleasure potency that when personified becomes, when pleasure potency of Krishna is personified, who does
Radharani.
Radharani, exactly. So Radharani is the personification of the pleasure potency of Krishna. So now, if you are just by yourself, how much can you enjoy? Not much. So Krishna said, just imagine a time when there's Krishna alone. There was no such time, but just imagine for a second. He said, no, I need company. So from his left portion came out who?
Radharani.
Radharani. So it's described that he was sitting on a swing. He desired to have company. And from the left side of his body, which is from the heart, came out a personality known as Radharani. So that is the pleasure potency of Krishna personified. So now, because Radharani is potency of Krishna, and potency and potent are non-different. Everybody agrees with that?
Yes,
No
Prabhuji.
difference between energy and the energetic. No difference between the potency and the potent. No difference between Krishna and his potencies. Everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
So because Radharani is the potency, pleasure potency of Krishna, she's non-different from Krishna. But to have the pleasure, rasa niryas, pranay vikriti, all said in this particular verse, to enjoy that loving affair, Krishna became from 1 to 2. So one Krishna became 2, Krishna and Radha. Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Madhumati is still looking confused, so I'm getting worried.
No, it's okay, Prabhuji.
Okay, all right. So look like you're convinced. Okay, so they became 2. They became separated, basically, eternally separated. But now, in the age of Kali, when Krishna said, I want to feel what Radharani feels. So the 2 became 1. Which 2? Radha and Krishna became 1.
Chaitanya
And that became
Mahaprabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishna took the mood of Radharani, those 2 became 1 and became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is that clear?
Yes,
So Chaitanya
Prabhuji.
Mahaprabhu, Krishna is tasting what Radharani tasted. Okay? Who's confused and who's not?
Prabhuji, Krishna has confused the whole world by becoming Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Absolutely, absolutely. So seriously, tell me, is this clear?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's clear.
Or is it clear as mud?
That's all.
Okay, all right. So Krishna's Kaviraj saying, I bow down to him, which manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani. Okay, everybody knows that, but it's Krishna himself. So let there be no confusion. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but he's got the mood and the sentiment and the complexion of Radharani. Okay, and this text is from the diary of Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami. Okay, text 56. Radha Krishna eke atma doi deh dhari अन्योन्य विलसे रस आस्वादन करी. Same point being repeated. Radha and Krishna are one and the same, which is what we were talking about. But they have assumed 2 bodies. We discussed that. Thus they enjoy each other, tasting the mellows of love. Because you need 2 to love. Can't have 1 to love. Right? So therefore, it's saying Radha and Krishna became 2. They are one and the same, no difference, but they became 2 to enjoy. Now, purport. Who wants to read the purport? First paragraph.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
The 2 transcendentalists, Radha and Krishna, are a puzzle to materialists, the above description of Radha and Krishna from the diary of Shri Savrup Damodar Goswami is condensed explanation, but one needs to great spiritual insight to understand the mystery of these two personalities. One is enjoying in two. Shri Krishna is the potent factor and Srimati Radharani is the eternal potency. According to the Vedanta philosophy, there is no difference between the potent and the potency. They are identical. We cannot differentiate between one and the other one any more than we can separate fire from heat.
Right. So we discussed this part already, so we won't discuss this. But I see a hand raised by Rupa Raju.
Sorry, Prabhuji, just for reading only I raised.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, Prabhuji, you asked who can read, so I just raised my hand. That's all.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Next paragraph you can read. Go ahead. Read the next paragraph.
Hare Krishna. Everything in the absolute is inconceivable in relative existence. Therefore, in relative cognizance, it is very difficult to assimilate this truth of oneness between the potent and the potency. The philosophy of inconceivable oneness and difference propounded by Lord Chaitanya is the only source of understanding for such intricacies of transcendence.
Thank you. So again, there's an acknowledgement that for us in the material world, where everything is on a relative platform, not absolute platform, it's hard to understand how can two things be one. And so Krishna's Prabhupada saying in the purport that the only way we can understand is the achinte bheda bhed, inconceivable simultaneous oneness and difference propounded by Lord Chaitanya is the only way we can understand. So as it is said that we are at the same time same as and different from Krishna. The same in qualities and difference in quantity. So that's basically the point being made here. Okay. Third paragraph. Who also read third paragraph?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Nana.
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally approaches the fallen conditioned soul of the Iron Age to deliver the highest.
Hold on. Did you miss the previous paragraph?
Sorry, I missed it. Okay. In fact, Radharani is the internal potency of Shri Krishna, and she eternally intensifies the pleasure of Shri Krishna. Impersonalists cannot understand this without the help of Mahabhagavata devotee. The very name Radha suggests that Srimati Radharani is eternally the topmost mistress of the comfort of Shri Krishna. As such, she is the medium transmitting the living entities' service to Shri Krishna. Devotees in Vrindavan therefore seek the mercy of Srimati Radharani in order to be recognized as living servitor of Shri Krishna.
Yeah. So let's read this paragraph carefully. In fact, Radharani is the internal potency of Shri Krishna. So we already discussed that. We agree. She's the pleasure potency. She eternally intensifies the pleasure of Shri Krishna because she's with him always, eternally. Therefore, she's eternally intensifying the pleasure that Krishna feels in her association. Only a Mahabhagavad, which is a pure devotee, can understand this. Impersonalists or any other people cannot understand this point. How can anybody eternally give some pleasure to somebody? Because we all know from our experience in the material world, if you have a girlfriend, after a while you get tired. If you're married, after 7 years, there's a problem, and so on and so forth. So we are used to those kind of things. And but only pure devotee can understand that it is possible to love Krishna eternally, and Radharani is doing that. The very name Radha suggests that Srimati Radharani is eternally the topmost mistress of the comforts of Shri Krishna. So the word Radha, does anybody know where the word Radha comes from? How does she get it?
Aradhana.
Aradhana. So what does Aradhana mean?
It means to do seva, to worship.
Correct. To worship, to serve. So that is the essence of Radharani's existence. She exists to serve Krishna. She exists to give pleasure to Krishna. She knows nothing but to give pleasure to Krishna. As a result, Krishna is reciprocating in such a way that only the service that's coming to Krishna through the lotus feet of Radharani is accepted. So Radharani becomes, she's the medium transmitting the living entity's service to Sri Krishna. She becomes the medium to transmit the service that we are performing for Lord Krishna. If we try to go to Krishna directly, it's not accepted. So actually we have to go through Parampara, and that goes to Radharani and then goes to Krishna. So take the example of the, let's say there's a garland. Who's authorized to put the garland around the neck of Krishna?
Only Srimati Radharani.
Only Srimati Radharani. But the Ashtasakhis make the garland. They make the garland and they give it to Krishna.
Radharani.
Sorry, to Radharani, and the Radharani gives to Krishna. The flowers are collected by the Manjaris. They collect the flowers, give it to Sakhis to make the garland. They make the garland, give it to Radharani to put on the neck of Krishna. That is how it works. Okay, and that's why we have to go to Guru, disciplic succession and all that. We cannot directly serve Krishna. We're not authorized. Okay? Devotees in Vrindavan therefore seek the mercy of Radharani in order to be recognized as loving servitors of Sri Krishna. Can everyone else please put yourself on mute? Thank you. And so that's the whole point. We are serving Krishna through Radharani. Krishna is accepting service when Radharani is in the middle. Okay? Let's read the next paragraph.
I can read, Prabhu.
Please go ahead.
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally approaches the fallen conditioned souls of the Iron Age to deliver the highest principle of transcendental relationships with the Lord. The activities of Lord Chaitanya are primarily in the role of the pleasure-giving portion of his internal potency.
Right. So, Lord Chaitanya is different from Krishna. He's Krishna, but he's different from Krishna in the sense that Krishna says, Savdhaman Parityajya, surrender to me and then I'll do something for you. Lord Chaitanya stands there and says, just come to me. Just come to me. And when they don't come, then he says, I'll come to you. So Lord Chaitanya is coming to us to give us the highest achievement we can have, highest principle we can get, and that is the love of Krishna. So the activities of Lord Chaitanya are primarily in the role of the pleasure-giving portion of his eternal potency. So what's the role of the eternal potency? To give pleasure to Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya is showing us how to give pleasure to Lord Krishna. So he's in the role of pleasure-giving portion by tasting that love, and now in the mood of Radharani, and giving us Krishna's name and love of Krishna, so that we can again provide that pleasure to Krishna. Okay. Next paragraph, please.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Please go
I
ahead.
can.
Go ahead.
The absolute personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is the omnipotent form of the transcendental existence, knowledge and bliss in full. His internal potency is exhibited first as Sat or existence, or in other words, as the portion that expands the existence function of the Lord. When the same potency displays full knowledge, it is called Chit or Samvit, which expands the transcendental forms of the Lord. Finally, when the same potency plays as a pleasure-giving medium, it is known as Hladini, or the transcendental blissful potency. Thus, the Lord manifests his internal potency in three transcendental divisions.
Right. So we discussed this already. Any questions on this? Well, we discussed this already. You understand Sandhini or Sat, which is the existence, eternal existence. Chit or Samvit is the knowledge potency, by which he knows everything and we know him. And then you have the Hladini Shakti or pleasure-giving potency. by which he feels the pleasure. And devotees feel the pleasure also of serving him. Okay? Any questions?
Can I ask a question, please?
You can.
So we said only Hladini Shakti personified as Radharani. So there's no expansion of Sandhini, there's nothing to do with Samvit energy.
They don't have expansions, if that's what you mean.
So do Radharani have those two as well as a part of her?
Yes, she does. That's why she's also eternal. That's why she also knows everything. But Radharani does expand, just like Krishna does. So Krishna's expansions are Matsya Avatar, Kurma Avatar, all those kind of things, right? Who are Radharani's expansions?
All the 8 principal queens, Lakshmi, and Sakhis, they're also expansions, right?
Yeah. All the
Maybe
gopis. All the gopis.
Yeah.
All the gopis are the expansions of Radha. All the Lakshmis are the expansion of Radharani. So all the personalities who give pleasure to Krishna in whatever form is Radharani. Okay, is that clear? Okay, let's go to 57 then. Sei dui ek ebe Chaitanya Gosai ras aswad dete do hain hela ek thai. Now to enjoy rasa, they have appeared in one body as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we discuss that also, right? 58. इति लागी आगे करी तार विवरण जहा होते होए गौरेर महिमा कथन. Therefore, I shall first delineate the position of Radha and Krishna. From that description, the glory of Lord Chaitanya will be known. Okay. 59. Radhika hoen Krishnere pranaya vikar Swarupa Shakti Hladi Nam Jahar. Shrimati Radhika is the transformation of Krishna's love. She is eternal energy, internal energy called Hladini. So there's a word used Swarup Shakti in the second line of the verse. Do you see it? Swarup Shakti also means eternal potency. Okay. So the portion, the third feature of Swarup Shakti is Hladini Shakti. And that is the personification of that is Radharani. Okay. Like you'll see a lot of repetition of what I told you in this particular chapter. Text 60. Hladini karaye Krishna anand aswadan, Hladini dwara kare bhaktere poshan. That Hladini energy gives Krishna the pleasure and nourishes his devotees. Nourishes devotees means also gives them the pleasure and gives them reason to survive. What's that verse in Bhagavad Gita? Chapter 10, text 9. Machitta mad gatprana bodhiyantas parasparam katyantas chu mam nitya tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Tushyanti cha means nourished, satisfaction. Ramanti means to enjoy. That's what the pure devotees enjoy, talking about Krishna, discussing Krishna with each other. That's the pleasure-giving potency of Krishna, working on the devotees. Okay, so let's expand on that. Who wants to read the first paragraph?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, please.
Srila Jiva Goswami has elaborately discussed the Hladini potency in his Preeti Sandarbha. He says that the Vedas clearly state only devotional service can lead one to the personality of Godhead. Only devotional service can help a devotee meet the Supreme Lord face to face. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is attracted by devotional service, and as such, the ultimate supremacy of Vedic knowledge rests in knowing the service of devotional service.
Right. So, you know the Shat Sandarbha, that's 6 books that Jiva Goswami has written. One of them is Preeti Sandarbha. Preeti means love. So he says that Vedas clearly state that only devotional service can get you to Krishna. Once again, going back to 1855, Bhaktya Mama Janati. That's the only way. Why is that? What is the difference with Bhakti and Jnana? If I ask you to explain in one line, or maybe just one word or 2 words, what is the difference between Bhakti and Jnana?
Bhakti
Theory and
has.
practical.
Bhakti, you do it,
Hmm.
and Gyan you only give to others and not doing anything.
Ah,
Is
okay.
it theory and practical?
Ah, okay.
Bhakti is wrapped up in love, and Gyan is more around just knowing about something.
Okay. I think you're trying to say is bhakti is about the heart, Gyan is about the
Yeah, about the mind.
brain,
Yeah,
right?
brain.
Krishna doesn't care for your brain.
Mm.
It just doesn't. You can know all the 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam. You can know all the 700 verses. You can know all the whatever the scriptures are there. You can explain them very, very well. You can be the biggest scholar. He doesn't care. He's not impressed. Why would he be impressed? If you have a PhD, why would you be impressed with somebody who says, I know 2 + 2 = 4? Right? However, if that person saying 2 + 2 = 4 is your son, 4 years old, how would you feel? Big hug. Big hug, right? Why? Because the heart is involved. Krishna is the same way. The heart is involved, which is bhakti. He's involved. He's not impressed with anything else. Srila Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj, what degree did he have? What material degree?
He was not literate.
He's not, he was illiterate. Yes, you're right. He was totally illiterate. But he knew Krishna and Krishna loved him. So much so that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, you are my only guru. I will not accept any other guru. So bhakti is about the heart. It's not about the brain. It's not about the mind. And that's the only way to get to know Krishna. So that's what Vedas are saying. If you want to get face to face with Krishna, perform devotional service. Krishna tells Uddhav in Canto 11, Namam sadhyati yogo na sankhya na dharma Uddhava na swadhyaya tapastyago jitha bhaktir mam urjita. Krishna is telling Uddhav, Sankhya Yoga, any religiosity, any studying of the scriptures, any other process doesn't excite me at all. Anywhere close to as bhakti does. He told upfront, like upfront, whatever the term is, very clearly, no uncertain terms to Uddhava. Nothing else excites me except bhakti. Nothing attracts me except bhakti. Why? Because I see the heart, I see the intent, I see the feelings, I see the bhav. Bhav Grahi Krishna. That's all I care for. He's not impressed by money, or he would have gone to Duryodhana's house for lunch and not having taken banana peels from the wife of Vidura. Right? If he didn't care for the heart, he wouldn't be stealing butter. So many other examples. He who defeated Digvijay Pandit would not be defeated by the argument of the poor Brahman who said, if you can walk, if you can talk, you can walk. No answer from Krishna. He says, okay, I'll walk. So things like that. What's coming from the heart is what impresses Krishna. So if you want to see Krishna face to face, only way is devotional service. Yeah, Radhan Prabhu, go ahead.
So, can you what's the context of you said you can talk or walk?
Oh, I'm sorry. The story of Sakshi Gopal.
Oh, Sakshi, okay.
Where the devotee says, to come with me to be the witness. And Krishna says, I'm a deity, I can't walk. And he says, if you can talk, you can walk, so come with me. Krishna had no answer. He said, okay, I'll walk. Right? Beaten. Like Charo Khana Chit. Right? So the only way to see Krishna face is devotional service. There's no other way. Supreme Personality of God is attracted by devotional service. That's it. That's the only thing that attracts Krishna. Your beauty, your fame, your opulence, your knowledge, your bravado, it's nothing for Krishna. But when you show the heart, Krishna is defeated completely. I remember the story about Bilva Mangal Thakur. such a wonderful devotee. He was in Vrindavan, wanted to see Krishna. Krishna came, held his hand as a little boy. And Bilwangal Thakur, who cannot see, knew right away this is Krishna. So I took him all around Vrindavan, showing him places. In the evening, he said, I have to go. And Bilwangal Thakur held his hand very tight, says, no, I'm not going to let you go. Krishna said, I have to go. Bilwangal Thakur said, no, I'm not going to let you go. Krishna forcibly released his hand and ran away. And Bilwangal Thakur said, हाथ छुड़ाए जात हो निर्बल जान की मोह हृदय से जब जाओगे सबल जानी हो तो. You're releasing your hand because you think I'm weak, but I'll know if you're strong if you can get out of my heart. Try that. Krishna came back, held his hand again, said, no, I'm not strong enough. And that's what this particular paragraph is talking about. Completely controlled by the love of the devotee. Okay, I'm saying the ultimate supremacy of Vedic knowledge, which is ultimate purpose of knowing the Vedas, Vida Sarvam Ahame Vedyo, to know Krishna. Okay? If there are any questions, let's do that. Otherwise, let's go to the next paragraph.
I can read next paragraph.
Please go ahead, Radhanath Prabhu.
Yeah. What is the particular attraction that makes the Supreme Lord enthusiastic to accept devotional service? And what is the nature of such service? The Vedic scriptures inform us that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is self-sufficient and that Maya, nations, can never influence him at all. Therefore, the potency that overcomes the Supreme must be purely spiritual. Such a potency cannot be anything of the material manifestations. The bliss enjoyed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be of material composition, like the impersonalist concept of the bliss of Brahman. Devotional service is the reciprocation between two, and therefore it cannot be located simply within oneself. Therefore, the bliss of self-realization, Brahmananda, cannot be equated with a devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Such an important point we made here again. It is the feelings, loving feelings, and service performed in that with loving feeling is what attracts Krishna. And that is what defined as devotional service, because done simply for the pleasure of Krishna, simply out of love for Krishna. And in a devotional service, two are involved. You cannot have devotional service and there are two personalities involved. You cannot serve yourself. You have to be serving somebody. Devotional service means you love somebody with love, with devotion, with dedication, etc., etc. The impersonalist, where does their pleasure come from? Their pleasure comes from cessation of material miseries. And they get there, this white spot or white space with nothing but light. And they think they're in bliss. But that bliss is simply absence of misery. That cannot compare with two people in love. Especially when it's pure love, especially when Krishna is involved. So the point being made here is that Krishna is not interested in anything material. No material pleasure can make him happy. So whatever makes him happy has to be purely spiritual. It again goes back to pure love of Krishna. Okay? Clear or?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Oh, Nand Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
So I'm okay. So the order of like this bliss, right? Like is Brahmananda is the first that we are going to, I mean, a person, like, I mean, what is the step? Meaning, will a person first experience Brahmananda and then go to devotional service, or it is first devotional service and then, okay, fine. Maybe I'm
They're independent. They're independent. Some people are impersonal. They don't believe in the form of Krishna. So all they want is cessation from material activities and miseries. So the self-realization and austerities, and if we get perfection, they merge in the Brahman effulgence, like the Jnanis and the yogis.
Okay.
But devotees are totally different. They don't go through Jnana. They don't go through yoga. They simply have love for Krishna in their heart, and they start from there. So two totally different paths. It's Gyan Marg that Krishna talks about in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3 and chapter 4. Chapter 4, actually, chapter 4. It's totally different. It's
Okay.
not.
Okay. So then this is again like kind of confusing, where in Chaitanya Charitamrita this is like explained, where okay, there is something called Brahmananda as well.
Yeah, that's
Right?
the
Like then,
pleasure that the impersonalists feel when they merge in the Brahman effulgence. That's Brahmananda. Merging in the Brahman effulgence is the pleasure known as Brahmananda.
Yeah. So I mean, so my question is actually like, why is it even being explained here, if that is not like so recommended?
No, but the point is that many people feel that's the highest, Brahmananda. And here we have been told, no, there's something much higher. That's it, because these people don't know. So they have been told, no, there's something much higher.
So this is again, okay, maybe, I mean, kind of confusing again.
Why?
Because pure or the, okay, devotees or not have experienced Brahmananda.
Okay.
And how can they say that it is much beyond that? Or, I mean, so if it is like really two different paths, right? Then how can there be a comparison of one is greater than the other?
Well, I mean, in the material world, there are many things that are totally different. Somebody plays cricket, somebody plays football, totally different games. But one person said this is more pleasure here, one person said more pleasure there. But then there are acharyas who know both, and they're telling us that this much more pleasure here than over there. Also, there's logical sense too. In Brahmana, there's only one person involved. How can pleasure of the self compare with pleasure of two? Like, look at it this way. You're not married, okay, you love yourself. You're married and you really love your wife, or she loves you. Just intuitively, what would be better? Intuitively. I'm not talking about special case. Somebody may be hating his wife or hating her husband. I'm not talking about that. Just intuitively.
Yeah, with the good intention of this will be much.
I'm just saying, just theoretical. I'm not being, a particular case or anything like that.
Yeah. Marriage, of course. Yeah.
Or anything, any mother and daughter, mother and son, anything.
Yeah.
For love, there has to be two people.
Okay.
And that pleasure is greater.
Okay.
Somebody else had a question. Somebody else was, I think. No? Okay. Let's go to the third paragraph then, please. Somebody.
I can read.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead has three kinds of internal potency, namely the Hladini Shakti or pleasure potency, the Sandhini Shakti or existential potency, and the Samvit Shakti or cognitive potency. In the Vishnu Purana 1.12.69, the Lord is addressed as follows: O Lord, you are the support of everything. The three attributes, Hladini, Sandhini, and Samvit, exist in you as one spiritual energy. But the material modes which cause happiness, misery, and mixtures of the two do not exist in you, for you have no material qualities.
Right. So again, we've discussed this. Krishna has no material qualities, and nothing material will give him happiness. So whatever gives you happiness, purely spiritual. Okay. Next paragraph.
I can read, Prabhu.
Go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna. Hladini is the personal manifestation of the blissfulness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by which he enjoys pleasure. Because the pleasure potency is perpetually present in the Supreme Lord, the theory of the impersonalist that the Lord appears in the material mode of goodness cannot be accepted. The impersonalist conclusion is against the Vedic version that the Lord possesses a transcendental pleasure potency. When the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is exhibited by His grace in the person of a devotee, that manifestation is called love of Godhead. Love of Godhead is an epithet for the pleasure potency of the Lord. Therefore, devotional service reciprocated between the Lord and His devotee is an exhibition of the transcendental pleasure potency of the Lord.
Right. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So once again, it's a repeat of what we discussed already, which is it's the Hladini potency that allows a devotee to serve Krishna and feel that pleasure of serving Krishna. So same potency gives Krishna the pleasure, same potency gives the devotee the pleasure. And it's said here, the manifestation of this potency in the relationship between devotee and Krishna is called love of God. That love of God is the pleasure that the devotee feels in his heart or her heart because of the existence of the pleasure potency of Krishna. So it's acting on both the devotee and the Lord. Okay, is that clear? Okay, then let's do the next paragraph.
I'll read, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
The potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that always enriches him with transcendental bliss is not material, but the Sankritis have accepted it as such because they are ignorant of the identity of the Supreme Lord and his pleasure potency. Those ignorant persons cannot understand the distinction between impersonal spiritual bliss and the very ignatedness of the spiritual pleasure potency. The Hladini potency gives the Lord all transcendental pleasure, and the Lord bestows such a potency upon his pure devotee.
Yeah, so this partially answers the question that Nandakumar Prabhu was asking, that once again, the pleasure that's coming from Lord Krishna, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna that's coming to the devotee, and the pleasure received as a result of that is so much superior to the whatever pleasure that a person feel by merging in the Brahman effulgence. There's nothing material about the pleasure potency of Krishna, just like there's nothing material about Krishna, period. In the spiritual pleasure potency, there's variety. You can have any mellow, Shantaras, Dasaras, Sakhiras, Vatsalaras, Madhuriras. But in impersonalism, there's no mellow. Because for mellow, you need two people. Okay? And it is the Lord that bestows that potency upon the devotee to make him or her feel that pleasure. Any questions?
No. Prabhuji reminds me of Moksha Laghutakrit you taught us in the beginning of the lectures.
Sorry, Prabhu?
About impersonalization, about impersonalism. We talked about Moksha Laghutakrit. You remember? Moksha Laghutakrit.
Yes, in the nectar of devotion.
Yeah.
So same thing, exactly the
Yeah.
same point. It's said that the pure devotional service gives so much pleasure that compared to that pleasure, the pleasure of Brahmanan is negligible, insignificant. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. That we studied that in nectar of devotion. That's one of the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service. The pleasure received is so much better that any pleasure from Brahmananda or merging in the Brahman effulgence is totally insignificant and completely neglected by the pure devotees because it's just nothing.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, then we'll go to 61. Satchidanand Purna Krishnera Swarup Ekai Chit Shaktitar Dhare Tin Roop. So again, same things being repeated again and again. Hopefully by the end of this chapter, it will really sink in. Lord Krishna's body is eternal, Sat, full of knowledge, Chit, and full of bliss, Anand. Is one spiritual energy manifests three forms. So its internal energy, internal potency, has the three features: Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini, or Sat Chitananand. So whichever way or whichever name you want to use, Sat is Sandhini, Chit is Samvit, and Anand is Hladini. Okay. 62. Anandanshe Hladini, Sadanshe Sandhini, Chidanshe Samvit, Jare Jnana Kari Mani. Hladini is his aspect of bliss, Sandhini of eternal existence, and Samvit of cognizance or knowledge, which is also accepted as knowledge. Okay? So hopefully it's been repeated so many times that it's really sunk in and everybody understands on this call what these three energies are.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you. It's good that repetition is
Yeah,
there.
there's a lot of repetition here.
You,
Okay,
you told earlier also, but I forgot. Hopefully this time it will be.
well, okay, let's hope. Actually, if we can spend maybe 20 minutes after the class, sometime between now and the next class, thinking about, trying to remember what we discussed, it'll really sink in. Like manan karna. Just meditate upon what we read. Sometime between this tonight and next Thursday. Okay. First paragraph, purport.
I can read, Prabhu.
Go ahead, please.
In his thesis, Bhagavad Sandarbha 103, Srila Jiva Goswami explains the potencies of the Lord as follows. The transcendental potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by which he maintains his existence, is called Sandhini. The transcendental potency by which he knows himself and causes others to know him is called Samvit. The transcendental potency by which he possesses transcendental bliss and causes his devotees to have bliss is called Hladini.
Right. So we've been discussing that, all those 3 points, right? So next paragraph, please, somebody.
I will
can
read.
Oh,
Okay.
It's okay, Prabhu, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The total exhibition of these potencies is called Vishuddha Tattva, and this platform of spiritual variegatedness is displayed even in the material world when the Lord appears here. The pastimes and manifestations of the Lord in the material world are therefore not at all material. They belong to the pure transcendental state. The Bhagavad Gita confirms that anyone who understands the transcendental nature of the Lord's appearance, activities, and disappearance becomes eligible for freedom from material bondage upon quitting the material tabernacle. He can enter the spiritual kingdom to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and reciprocate the Hladini potency in transactions between him and the Lord. In the mundane mode of goodness, there are tinges of passion and ignorance. Therefore, mundane goodness, being mixed, is called Mishra Sattva, but the transcendental variegatedness of Vishuddha Tattva is completely free from all mundane qualities. Vishuddha Tattva is therefore the proper atmosphere in which to experience the personality of Godhead and his transcendental pastimes. Spiritual variegatedness is eternally independent of all material conditions and is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Both being absolute, the Lord and his devotees simultaneously perceive the Hladini potency directly by the power of the Samvit potency.
Thank you, Babu. So there's two words being used, Vishuddha Sattva and Mishra Sattva. So what does the word Vishuddha mean?
Impure.
Sorry?
Impure.
No, the opposite.
Pure sattva.
Yeah, Vishuddha means pure. Shuddha means pure. Vishuddha means especially pure. Really, really pure.
Yeah.
Okay, what does Sattva mean?
It's
Not
in the
Sattu.
mode of pure goodness.
No. What's the word Sattva mean?
Just,
Huh?
Gist?
Just okay, just essence, yeah. Yeah. So I prefer the word essence. I think it's more meaningful here. So Vishuddha means pure essence. Really, really pure. Not just Shuddha, but Vishuddha. Which means there's no adulteration, there's nothing else mixed here. But that doesn't mean there's no variety. So again, in the spiritual world, which is Vishuddha Sattva, all sorts of varieties there. The trees are there, the rivers are there, the stones are there, people are there, loving affairs are there, different mellows are there, all sorts of varieties there. Playfulness is there, the transcendental anger is there, all those things. All the varieties are there. It's not boring. But they're all pure. There's no mixture of anything material. This is also sometimes called pure goodness. Pure in that there's no mixture. In the material world, even the mode of goodness is mixed. That's called mishra, means mixed.
Mixed.
Mixed essence means there's nothing pure in the material world. Everything's mixed with something. The duality is always there. 99% acha, 1% kharab. You know, some mixture is there always. So there's nothing material in Krishna's qualities, nothing material in the spiritual world. It's all Vishuddha Sattva. So it is in the Vishuddha Sattva that a devotee can feel the pleasure of serving Krishna. The pleasure is Hladini Shakti. The experience of the pleasure is of Samvit Shakti. Samvit is knowledge. Everybody with me? So the Samvit potency is helping us know that pleasure, feel that pleasure. The pleasure potency is the pleasure coming to us. Okay? So that's one point. Second point is that where did it go? Yeah, so one who understands the difference, one who understands that the Lord's appearance, activities, etc., are all spiritual and transcendental. Upon leaving the body, he doesn't come back to the material world. What verse is that from Bhagavad Gita?
Janma karma chame
Yes.
divyam. 4:9.
Yes, 4:9.
4.9.
Yes, thank you. Okay, any questions on that?
Prabhuji, just needed a clarification on the last line.
Mm-hmm.
So as you told that, so the perception of Hladini Shakti is through knowledge, and in spiritual world, Krishna, how does it deliver knowledge? It's directly from heart to heart, right? So
how does the knowledge delivered?
Yeah. So
because the potency acts up on the devotee. It's not a question of transfer. It's potency like energy. It's acting upon the devotee. That's like it's acting on Krishna. Right? So it's like you turn the light on in the room. So now you know how to light. It's not, nothing is being transmitted or transferred. Okay? I hope I understood your question.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I think, yeah, I mean, I also had the same question. Like, so I mean, like, let me try to ask in a different way the same thing. But
Sure.
maybe you might have answered it, but then, yeah, I just want to confirm again. Is this also indirectly telling that pure devotee needs both knowledge and devotion?
Prabhu, don't go there, because I know where you're going. I know where you're going. It's totally different context.
Okay.
It's not talking about jnana.
Okay.
It's just ability to perceive. That's all.
Okay. So it is
Perceiving
naturally
the pleasure
there
by the knowledge potency. That's it.
Okay. So meaning, okay, can I understand it as it is naturally there in that
Well, because we're in the material world, the material knowledge is there. The perception of material things there. But the ability to perceive the Hladini Shakti of Krishna comes from the Samvit potency of Krishna. Because both are spiritual. You cannot mix the material. That's the whole point. You cannot mix material with the spiritual. In Vishnu Sattva, is all spiritual. So the spiritual portion, Krishna's potency is spiritual. The Samvit potency is helping the devotee perceive the second potency, which is the Hladini potency. And that's it. It's helping you perceive. Give the ability to perceive. That's the potency.
Okay.
It's not Gyan coming to you from verses and all that. It's not that. It's ability to perceive. So my point is, in the material world, you perceive because of material energy. The spiritual world, you perceive because of the spiritual energy. That's it. Concept is the same.
Okay. So what this also mean? I mean, yeah, this means Chit is required to experience Ananda.
Yeah, Chit is required to experience anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is kind of
it is heavy.
To our logical mind, right? Like,
yeah,
always tries to find logic, of course, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, whether it is required or not, but it again like comes
That's okay.
It's
better to ask question than stay confused.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay, next paragraph.
I can read, Prabhu.
Please go ahead.
The material modes of nature control the conditioned souls, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never influenced by these modes, as all Vedic literatures directly and indirectly corroborate. Lord Krishna himself says in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 11.25.12, Sattvam Rajas Tama iti guna jivasya naiva me. The material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance are connected with the conditioned souls, but never with me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Vishnu Puran, confirms this as follows. Should I read the verse, Prabhu?
Please go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
I'll try. Satvadayo na santishe yatra na prakrita gunaha sa shuddha sarva shuddebhya puman adya prasiditau.
Very good.
Should I continue the?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish it. Yeah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is beyond the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance. No material qualities exist in him. May that original person Narayan, who is situated in a completely transcendental position, be pleased with us. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10.27.4, Indra praises Krishna as follows.
Okay,
So I'll just stop here. Okay.
Yeah. So once again, same point is being made. There's nothing material about Krishna. There are no material qualities. Krishna is known as Mayatit. What does Mayatit mean?
Away from Maya.
So say again?
Beyond
away from Maya.
Yeah, away from Maya, beyond Maya. Yeah. So
Beyond Maya.
Maya cannot touch him. Modes of material nature cannot touch him. He's not affected by them. We are, Krishna is not. Okay. No material qualities exist in him. Sorry?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. By the way, I see Rupa Raju. I don't recognize the name.
No, my Sujata Mataji have given this contact.
No, you're most welcome to attend. That's not my point. Is this your first time?
Yeah, first time attending your class, Prabhuji. Yes.
I'm sorry, Mataji?
First time attending your class, Prabhuji.
Okay. You're most welcome, by the way. I didn't mean to imply anything else. Go ahead.
Thank you. My question here is, no material qualities exist in him. But in one context, I understood it. But in other context, I have a question. We say that everything belongs to Krishna. In that context, he is everything, right? So even the material world, anything temporary or permanent, everything belongs to him. So why does it say material qualities doesn't exist in him?
Very good question. Yeah, very good question. So material qualities don't exist in him. Doesn't mean they're not part of him. So remember we said the three potencies of Krishna: internal, marginal, and external. So external potency is part of him, but doesn't touch him. He's beyond that. They don't influence him, they don't affect him, they cannot touch him. But they're still part of him. Material world is part of him. Right? It just doesn't influence him, doesn't affect him. He's able to rise above that. So I don't know if that's answering your question, but it is very much, Maya is non-different from Krishna.
Yes, in that case, why did they say doesn't exist in him?
It doesn't exist in him because it doesn't exist in him. It's outside.
In him, why it doesn't exist? Because we are seeing it.
Okay, I think I understand your point. So look at it this way. When it says doesn't exist in him, it means it's not affecting him. It doesn't control him.
Yes.
It doesn't have any impact on him. That's what it really means. But it is very much part of him.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Do I answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Sure. You're welcome. Okay. Somebody wants to start with the verse? Okay. I'll read the
I
verse.
can read. Okay,
Well,
sorry.
go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
I can try again, Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead. Did well last time.
Thank you. Vishuddha sattvam tav dhama shantam tapomayam dvashta rajastamaskam mayamayo ayam gunasam pravaho na vidyate te grahananubandha.
Very good.
Thank you. So anyone can read the...
No, you go ahead. Finish it.
Okay. My dear Lord, your abode is Vishuddha Sattva, always undisturbed by the material qualities, and the activities there are in transcendental loving service unto your feet. The goodness, austerity, and penance of the devotees enhance such activities, which are always free from the contamination of passion and ignorance. Material qualities cannot touch you under any circumstances.
Right. So again, same point is being repeated, that there's no material thing in the abode of Krishna. It's all Vishuddha-sattva. Okay. Someone wants to read the next paragraph?
I can try, Prabhu.
Please go ahead. Oh, Priti Mataji, go ahead.
When not manifested, the modes of material nature are said to be in goodness. When they are externally manifested and active in producing the varieties of material existence, they are said to be in passion. And when there is a lack of activity and variegatedness, they are said to be in ignorance. In other words, the pensive mood is goodness, activity is passion, and inactivity is ignorance. Above all these mundane qualitative manifestations is Vishuddha Sattva. When it is predominated by the Sandhit potency, it is perceived as the existence of all that be. When predominated by the Samvit potency, it is perceived as knowledge in transcendental. And when predominated by the Hladini potency, it is perceived as the most confidential love of God. Vishuddha Sattva, the simultaneous manifestation of these three in one, in the main feature of the kingdom of God, is the main feature of the kingdom of God. Hare Krishna.
Good. Thank you. So this is a very interesting paragraph. It's basically comparing the material world and the spiritual world. In the material world, you have three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And basically saying when it's pensive, like sitting there, meditating and all that, that's mode of goodness. Action is passion, and not doing anything, laziness, is ignorance. But when they're all not manifested, it's all goodness. But above that is the spiritual world, which is nothing but Vishuddha-sattva. All pure, no mixture with anything material. And there also you have variety. You have three, just like in material mode of nature, you have goodness, passion, and ignorance. In Vishuddha-sattva, the pure spiritual thing, you have three features, which is the Sandhini Shakti, Samvit Shakti, and the Hladini Shakti. So just comparing that, look, three are in both, but one is pure, one is not pure. Okay. Okay, next paragraph.
I can read.
Please go ahead, Aditi.
The absolute truth is therefore the substance of reality, eternally manifest in three energies. The manifestation of the internal energy of the Lord is the inconceivably variegated spiritual world. The manifestation of the marginal energy comprises the living entities, and the manifestation of the external energy is the material cosmos. Therefore, the absolute truth includes these four principles: the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, His internal energy, His marginal energy, and His external energy. The form of the Lord and the expansion of His form as Swayam Rupa and Vaibhava Prakasha are directly the enjoyers of the internal energy, which is the eternal exhibitor of the spiritual world, the most confidential of the manifestation of energy. The external manifestation, the material energy, provides the covering bodies of the conditioned living entities from Brahma down to the insignificant ant. This covering energy is manifested under the three modes of material nature and appreciated in various ways by living entities in both the higher and the lower forms of life.
Actually, this paragraph answers the question that Rupa Mataji was asking. So if I take your attention to the line that says, therefore, this is the third line from the top. Therefore, the absolute truth includes these four principles. Does everybody see that?
Yep.
First is the Supreme Personality of God Himself. Second is His internal energy. Third is marginal energy. And His external energy is the fourth one. So external energy is very much in Him. It just doesn't have any effect on Him. It doesn't influence Him. But it's part of Him. There's no question about it. Okay, and then it goes and explains that when the Vishwasattva manifests, you see the material world. When the marginal energy manifests, we see the living entities. And when the external energy manifests, we see the cosmos. Everybody clear on that? Yes, no? Please speak up.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. All right. And then it says, the Hladini potency is enjoyed by expansions of Krishna. Okay. And external manifestation of the material energy and covering bodies. Okay. And the external manifestation is the covering of the living energy. So our bodies are the manifestation of material energy. Okay. Any questions on that? So I don't know if it's getting too complicated.
Prabhuji,
Huh.
can you please explain this part as well? The form of the Lord and the expansions of His form as Swayam Rupa and Vaibhava Prakash. Can you just explain those words? I know you've said it before, like maybe in other classes, but can you repeat?
So, we talked about different ways Krishna expands. So one is where many Krishnas, but they're all identical. So example is given when Krishna was doing the lust dance. He expanded himself for the billions of gopis, but they were all same Krishna, no difference. And then you have Vaibhava Prakash like Lord Balaram, where there's some difference. The color is different, for example. It's the swans, basically, that enjoy the internal potency. So all the expansions like Lord Nisikadev, Lord Ram, etc., they enjoy the internal potency. And it's the internal potency that exhibits the material world. So through the Samvit potency, Sandhini potency, it manifests the spiritual world. Okay? And then similarly, the manifestation of material energy is in the bodies that we have, right? Or the cosmos, or the different universes. That's what that is.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure. And in the material world, you have the three modes of material nature, whereas you don't have that in the spiritual world. You have the three potencies, Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini. Okay, let's do the last paragraph. Somebody who's not read it yet? Any volunteers?
Chalo.
I will read it.
Okay.
Each of the three divisions of the internal potency, the Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini energies, influences one of the external potencies by which the conditioned souls are conducted. Such influence manifests the three qualitative modes of material nature, proving definitely that the living entities, the marginal potency, are eternally servitors of the Lord and are therefore controlled by either the internal or external potency.
Okay. So these three potencies, Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini, they influence the external potencies by which the conditioned souls are conducted. So again, we were talking earlier, but pure devotee is the pure form, conditioned source is the shadow of it, which is the external energy form. So external energy is really shadow of the internal energy. The components are the same way. So our knowledge, our pleasure, and our existence is by the shadow of the pure Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini energies. But it's coming from there. Everything in the material world is coming from the spiritual world, only in a perverted form. And that's called shadow. And that's basically the point, that these are coming from the spiritual world, but they become perverted because they're in the material world. But still the same. We have, so the existence, we have the knowledge, or knowledge, ability to get knowledge, and we have the pleasure, or the feeling of pleasure. It's all coming from there, but in a perverted form. Okay, this got a little heavy. You want to stop here? Any questions or comments before we wrap up?
So I just remembered when you spoke about Gaura Kishore Das Baba, his Bhakti Saraswati Siddhanta Swami, he said that he's an encyclopedia of knowledge, right? Though he was illiterate.
Correct.
Yeah, but
Correct. All the knowledge comes automatically. There's a very wonderful verse in the scriptures. Yes deve parabhakti, jatha deve tatha guru, tasat kehta hai artha prakashante mahatmana. Automatically it comes. You know, there's another verse in Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, 7th verse. Vasudeve bhagavate bhakti yogen prayojita. Janeti ashu vairagyam jnanam chayata hetukam. Automatically the gyan comes. Automatically by performance of devotional service. You don't have to study the scriptures. And yeah, Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj, living proof of that. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
So like going like two paragraphs before, right? Like the same line, the form of the Lord and the expansion of his form as Swayam Rupa and Vaibhava Prakasha are directly the enjoyers of the internal energy. Right. So does this mean Swayam Rupa and Vaibhava Prakasha are different from God?
No. Remember I was saying that there are two types of expansions of Krishna. One is where all expansions are exactly the same, as in Krishna expanding himself in Ras Lila. And the other is expansions like Lord Balaram. Same in every way except color. Okay. So, and then you have the Vilas form, which is like Lord Ram, Lord Nrsimha, who look totally different, but they're still same as Krishna. They are the ones who enjoy the internal potency. Like, in other words, all the avatars enjoy the internal potency, except the Shakti-Avesh avatar. So all the swans, which is the integrated expansion of Krishna, they enjoy the internal potency. We enjoy the external potency.
Okay.
So Lord Ram, Lord Nrsimha, they're enjoying the internal potency.
Okay. So, I mean, okay, that includes Krishna as well. I mean, like...
Oh, of course. It all starts from Krishna.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so there was no explicit like mention of God there, right? Like, I mean, Supreme Lord there. So that's why I was confused. Like, what is?
Okay.
What is?
Sure.
Okay, thank
Sure.
you.
No problem. You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, then we'll stop. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyo pavnebhyo vaishnavabhyo
Namo Namah.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Jai.
Maharaj ki jai. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for everything.